thank you so much for joining us this morning as we welcome you to Key Stage 1. I know some of you may be familiar already with Key Stage 1 if you're moving up into Year 2, but welcome to everybody, new families, any families moving up from FS2 as well. It's lovely to have you here today. We are all very, very excited about you joining us for the next academic year. So just a little introduction here of a few people. For those of you who don't know, my name is Amy Rowlings and I am the current head of Key Stage 1. I have been at the Academy now for 9 years and it's been a pleasure to lead Key Stage 1 this year. I am lucky enough to be moving on to a new role as Assistant Principal next year. So I will be handing over to our lovely new head of phase, Tanisha Hall. She's actually with us today, so I think she's going to say a little hello to all of you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to be here today. My name is Tanisha Hall, and as Amy said, I will be coming in to work as the head of phase for Key Stage 1. I've been in Dubai for the past 8 years working as a school leader, and for the past 3 years have been a part of the GEMS family. I'm currently an assistant head teacher with lead responsibility for teaching and learning and Key Stage 1. So I'm super excited to be joining you all and working with you all in the next academic year.
Thank you so much. And you may see some familiar faces here. We've got our head of Year 1, Jodie Han, who's coming up from FS, and our current head of Year 1, moving up to head of Year 2, Yasmin Savitri. So it's lovely to introduce the team formally to you today, and you will be hearing from each of them very, very soon. So just this may be information that some of you are already aware of if you have older children in the school or you're an existing family in Key Stage 1, but these are the school timings. As you can see, Year 1 to Year 4 at the top of the page there, the pickup time does differ slightly. If you have any children in Year 5 and 6, they do finish a little bit later. And they do self-dismiss. They are able to come and meet you at an agreed point rather than you collect them from a collection area at the end of the day. Drop-off is between 7:15 and 7:45, Monday through to Friday. It is a really important time of the morning, so we do encourage children to be in good time. We do use that time to work with children, perhaps look at specific targets and things like that. So it is a useful time in the morning. We do take the register at 7:45. So any children arriving after that would be marked as late. As you can see, our ECAs, we're very lucky to have a big range of ECAs that we offer here. They do take place Tuesday to Thursday at 3:15 to 4:10. More information about the different ECAs that we offer will be shared at the beginning of the school year, allowing enough time for you to sign your children up. We do also have ESMs, which are external providers. Again, they provide after-school activities, whether it's gymnastics or football or a range of music and sports and robotics. Again, they will be shared with you at the time of the new school year as well. Just a note here at the bottom, for the first 2 weeks, Year 1 will finish at 1:30. This is important to support with that transition into the primary school. It can seem quite big and scary, I think, for those children coming up for FS, so it's really important we take into account their well-being. So a slightly earlier finish. School buses will, however, run at that time if your child uses this transport. Okay, so on the next 2 slides, we have a couple of example timetables. Your exact class timetable will be shared in the first few weeks from your class teacher, but this is just to give you a bit of an idea as to the Key Stage 1 curriculum. Miss Hannah and Miss Sabici will talk a little bit more about some of these areas when I pass over to them shortly, but just for you to see the specialist subjects, you can see a prominent feature here on the Year 1 timetable is the Explore time. There we refer to our continuous provision, which has been successfully implemented into Year 1 for several reasons. All research-informed decisions there, thinking about the children's development, and we've seen a huge positive impact in terms of their spoken language, their interactions with peers, their transition from FS to Year 1, and also their progress across all areas of the curriculum. So a key feature there of our Year 1 timetable. Moving on to Year 2, it does look slightly different, but we do actually have an element of continuous provision in our Year 2 classrooms. We have implemented that this year, and we found it's had a significant impact in terms of progress that children have made, because it's allowed for those focus groups working one-to-one in small groups with children to allow a lot more personalised learning. Again, you can see the specialist subjects here. From Year 2 up, we do have, we're lucky enough to have language teachers who will teach French for half of the year and then Spanish for half of the year as an introduction ahead of Key Stage 2, and they've thoroughly enjoyed it this year. That's been a big success. Okay, I'm now going to hand over to our lovely heads of year to talk a little bit through the curriculum in more detail with you. Thank you.
So these are our topics for Year 1 across the year. Our first topic will be Animal Avengers, which is a very exciting topic that all of the children love. Then we will move on to Amazing Boys and Girls in Unit 2, and the children will take part in a very special event that they love, where they have their fashion show and they design their capes for the fashion show. And then finally, in Term 3, we will do Weather Detective. Now, all of these topics, they link to our sustainable development goals. So we make sure that we cover those across Key Stage 1 as well.
So in Year 2, in Term 1, the first topic is Ocean Guardians. That tends to focus on life below water. So as Miss Han said, linking that with the sustainable development goals. Then in Term 2, it's out of this world travel. We we look at space, we look at the first flights, those kinds of things. And in the last term, there is Farm Africa. You might have seen actually over the past few weeks, there was a really lovely event that went on with some parents coming in and the African drummers. So I know that the children will be looking forward to that next year. So as Mrs. Rowling said, in Key Stage 1, we are really avid fans of continuous provision. So in Year 1 in particular, that goes through the whole year. So we do use those elements of the foundation stage classroom, but then we link that with the national curriculum objectives. So we obviously use those ones that we have in Year 1 and we link that within the classroom. Having been in Year 1 for quite a few years, we found that this way of learning with Year 1 and Year 2 really benefits them, because they can be independent, they can explore their own learning, but as the teachers, we can obviously then support that and bring that back to what they need to learn within each year group. Now, in terms of what we see in Year 2, we do, as Mrs. Rowling said, there is a little bit of a transition period. So we will do that continuous revision within Year 2. But then as the year goes on, it then slowly kind of evolves into a lot more where we just have English, maths, science, like the rest of the school.
Now, I know lots of you will already be familiar with Read Write Inc. This is the phonics program that we use at our school, but this, for our new Year 1 children, this will look a little bit different to how it does in FS2. So when the children come to us at the beginning of Year 1, we will do an assessment on them to see what level they are in their phonics. And from that, we will begin to stream the children across our 7 classes. So what that means is that all of our children who are on green, they will go to one classroom with one teacher, and they will get really directed learning for the green group so that they can make progress as quick as possible to move them up. Every morning, like Miss Rowling said, we need children in school on time because we do our phonics in the morning for an hour, and this is such a key part of their day. If they are missing this, then they are missing so much of their key learning that they need to be. So these are the expected levels for Year 1 and Year 2 in phonics. You will be given this at the beginning of the year, so you can see it will go on Padlet. So it will be there for you to access all the time to see where your children are reading at. And then also on Padlet, they will have their spellings. The spelling tests in Year 1 are on a Friday. I'm not sure if Year 2 is the same. I think those might be a Thursday. And the children's spellings will correlate with the coloured reading book. You will know what colour your child is in because they will bring home their Read Write Inc reading book that you can then support them with reading at home as well.
I've actually just seen a question come up about, so it says, do you use the language and literacy element of Read Write Inc and what happens when they complete grey? So after they come off of grey, we then do focus on that comprehension side and those more challenging reads. So I know this might look a little bit different next year in terms of what we're doing in Year 2, but obviously during that time, lots of the children might still be accessing their phonics learning, but then some other children might be completely off of phonics and they will then focus on some of those language and literacy elements, but those comprehension and those challenging reads. I hope that answers your question.
These are our key skills that we will focus on for maths when we are in Year 1. So when we are in Term 1, the children will spend a lot of time working on their number bonds to 10. This is a really key skill for those children because it underpins so many elements of maths going forward. And if they have those number bonds quickly to access, then it will just make a lot of their other math skills that they come across in Year 1, Year 2, and all the way through primary, it will just make that easier for them. So we spend a lot of time consolidating that knowledge and making sure that they understand what numbers are and how the number system to 10 is made up so that they can use that knowledge going further. When we get to Term 2, we start to look a bit more at adding 2 digits to 1-digit numbers and even 3 to a 1-digit number. And again, they might seem like very basic skills to you and I, but to those children, they just really need to have that knowledge and it needs to be accessible to them so that they are able to use it in other areas of the curriculum. We will also then start to look at the opposite of our number bonds to 10, so the subtraction facts that go with them. If the children have a really good understanding of their number bonds to 10, then this will come quite naturally to them. As we move on to Term 3, we will look at doubling and halving and adding 10 to any number. We'll also be practicing counting in 2s, 5s and 10s. This is not everything we cover in maths, but these are the core number skills that children need to have a solid understanding of maths in Year 1.
And I think if they're not able to do those things in Year 1, then they're going to find it difficult for them to be able to do in Year 2. So even if you're thinking about things that you can practice over the summer, like practice those Year 1 skills so that when they come to Year 2, they can then have a look at those skills that we need to do within Term 1, 2 and 3. Obviously, a lot of it links together. So obviously in terms of like number bonds to 20, we practice that in Year 1 and then we practice that in Year 2. Yeah, I'll just have a look at that question. Yeah. And then obviously in term 2, we then begin to look at times tables. Obviously, if they can count in 2s, 5s and 10s, then they can apply that to their multiplication. And then obviously then practicing counting in 5s and adding 11 to a 2-digit number. I can just see a question just come up about maths. Oh, there we go. Yes, we follow right rows, and then obviously we kind of personalise that to the children.
Okay. As Mr. Vitri said, there are some things that you can do over the summer. We do find obviously that summer is a long period of time, and children, they do need to keep some of these basic skills going so that when they return back to school in August, they are ready to get going with their learning again. So from our children moving from FS2 to year 1, these are some things that we think would be good to prepare them for year 1. Now, reading, as I'm sure you all know, we've been doing all through FS2, is a really important thing for these children, especially our children who don't have English as their first language, because it just helps them to continue to develop that vocabulary and understanding. So we would suggest reading with your child for 20 minutes a day. Now, this can be you reading to them. It's still at this age incredibly important that they hear books being read to them. So this is not just children reading to you, this is you reading to them as well. We have put a school reading list here that we think these are really good suggested reads for children who are coming to year 1. They're just really good high quality texts that are going to give those children good vocabulary and language. Here in our math skills, practice writing numbers to 10. This will be something that will support them in year 1, and also counting to 20. So they don't necessarily need to be able to write their numbers to 20 at this point, but they should be able to count to 20. Here as well, linking to their phonics, writing the alphabet letters. So writing all of their single sounds and then saying the sounds that comes with that. And finally, I've put one here, tying shoelaces.
That's a good one.
If you're going to send your child to school in September with laced shoes, they need to be able to tie them independently, because having 25 children ask you to tie their shoelaces in a day, it just takes a fair amount of our time. So Velcro shoes are absolutely acceptable. But if you are sending your child to school with shoelaces, then please make sure that they can tie them by themselves.
Yeah,
sure
very important. Obviously, you know, in terms of things that you can prepare for year 2 as well, it'll be very similar in terms of making sure that we're reading as much as possible, maybe talking to them about September, the child's new teacher, what they're looking forward to in their new class, and just having those like real life experiences. So, you know, making something, following a recipe, maybe them writing their own recipe, writing lists, shopping lists, and even just if you're out and about reading different signs and, you know, those different things that they will be able to remember and be able to link their learning as well. And I know that year 1's going up to year 2. There's quite a few different apps that you have available to you. So your Busy Things login, Numbots, obviously Numbots, you can practice those key math skills that we were just talking about. And then White Rose actually do a really useful app on there that's free. We often use it in class, and it's just a really good one to kind of get them getting their fluency up with their number facts.
Thank you so much for the information. A lot to take in, I know, parents. So if there are any questions that come to mind afterwards, then please do reach out to us. This will be shared, this recording, and you will also get a parent handbook with a lot of information in, including the information we are sharing today. So I've just got a couple of slides here about uniform. We do encourage the children to take pride in their uniform and representing the school. So it's really, really important that they have the correct uniform from the beginning of the school year. You can see here on the screen the core uniform and what that consists of. So I'll just give you a moment to have a little look at that. All of the uniform can be purchased from Threads, and there's various stores located across Dubai. As a parent myself as well, do try and get in early because it can be pretty mad in the sort of week leading up to school, or do have a look online as well if you know sizes and things like that. You will see that the tie here, and then also on the next slide, their PE kit, the colour corresponds to their house colour. Existing parents, I'm sure you know these already, but for new parents joining us, this will be shared with you from the admissions team. So please do take note of their house, and you can then get the correct colour that corresponds to that. Okay, I'll just show you the PE uniform is here. Like I said, it corresponds to the house colours. So we have ruby is red, emerald is green, pearl is white, and onyx is black. On the left-hand side, you can see the swimwear for boys and girls with the swim caps. And then just to note here on the winter wear, there are no hoodies on here. So it is just the jumper, pullover, or the cardigan for when those cooler months are with us in Dubai. Again, just some additional items to point out, something really important, school shoes. So the black school shoes rather than trainers for their core uniform, and then white trainers there for any PE days. When they do have swimming, the children come in their PE kits, perhaps with their swimwear underneath if they have it in the morning. Yeah, the PE kit is there for you to see. And bags, lastly, bags. I'm just going to share with you. We do require all children to have the Wellington bag. No trolley bags are allowed due to health and safety reasons. So we do encourage that they have those from the very first day. Just one note with regards to uniform, if you could please take the time to label all of your children's uniform. Obviously, we encourage them to look after their things carefully, but occasionally they may leave it in a specialist subject room or perhaps at PE, and it makes it much, much easier to relocate it if it is labelled. So please take the time to do so. Again, during these hot months, it's important they bring their hat in every day. Again, that corresponds to their house colours. So a useful slide here, you may want to take a photo of this, or like I say, it will be sent out to you following the presentation. Some useful contact details here. With regards to any absence, we do ask that you email the absence team as well as the class teacher before 7:30. If there are any changes to pick up or getting the bus home, we ask that these are shared with us in the morning as soon as possible, so the teachers see the message in time. And then lastly, just a little note about parent communication. We have a very open door policy here at WEC, and we do encourage you to converse with the teachers whenever you see them. But in terms of more formal communication, we have our weekly newsletter that gets emailed out on a Friday. This will come from your child's class teacher, and that will have information about what they've been learning in the week, so you can see and perhaps consolidate with them at home, along with an overview of that week. Teachers can be contacted by email. Obviously, when they are teaching your children, that is where their focus lies, so they won't respond to emails during teaching time. But we do have a 24-hour policy where we will get back to you. Of course, we have book meetings, whether it's on phone or on Zoom, or face-to-face. We do have those as well, whichever is most convenient for you. And of course, our termly reports that go home, and our student-led conferences. and parent-teacher meetings. We also have Seesaw, which some of you may be familiar with already, where you can gain a real insight into what your child is doing in the classroom. And it's a great way of seeing all the wonderful things that are happening and being able to talk to them about it. So we will continue to use that app next year. And just a quick reference to parent WhatsApp groups. I know as a parent myself, they are great for getting to know other families and reminding one another of up and coming events at school. But we do strongly encourage you to reach out to your class teacher if you have any questions or need any official communication. So if you've got any concerns at all, we do encourage you to come and talk to us about it so we can then do something about it and find a solution. That is the end of our presentation today. I know it's lots of information to take in, but we are so looking forward to welcoming you in the new academic year. If you do have any other questions, please do reach out. And just a couple of things for your diary. On Friday, we will be sharing class teachers with you, which is a very exciting moment for you and your child. You will get a biography of the new class teacher along with a photograph. So please do share that with your children. Next week, we do have our Step Up Day, which is currently being planned for some very exciting and engaging activities where your children will get to go up and meet their new class teacher for the morning. That's from 9 till 11:30. If you are a new family joining us and you are in Dubai, then we would encourage you to come in and join us on that morning. It would be wonderful to see you. And then just lastly, just to let you know, any new students that are joining us, on the very first day of school, it will only be new families in that day, just to allow time for that transition and to have sort of a smaller number in, so it's not so daunting for any new starters that we have. And then the following day, all students will be welcomed into the academy. Thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. I wish you a pleasant day ahead, and we will see you very, very soon. Thank you.